What's up, guys? Welcome to Starling on Cinemas, and that's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on Just Mercy as part of the Black Lives Matter series in the wake of the George Floyd incident. Now, before I begin, if you're new to this video, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Or if you're watching this on Instagram, you can do that as well. Like, and comment, and share it to your friends. So, let's get to it. Just Mercy, what is it about? Sometimes I forget this came out at the end of 2019. It feels like it's in 2020, but especially now, this movie is relevant. So let's get to it. After graduating from Harvard, Bryan Stevenson, played by Michael B. Jordan, heads to Alabama to defend those wrongly condemned or those not afforded proper representation. One of his first cases is that of Walter McMillian, played by Jamie Foxx, who is sentenced to die in 1987 for the murder of an 18-year-old girl. Despite evidence proving his innocence in the years that follow, Stevenson encounters racism and legal and political maneuverings as he tirelessly fights for McMillan's life. So, when I first saw this, I was expecting a very inspiring biography introducing us to another African American hero that the world was not really familiar of. But let's get to it. The story. How do I feel about the story? Well, like I said, this is based on a true story of Bryan Stevenson, a lawyer who has fought for countless cases, has always won each of those cases, more than 30. He's been doing this for at least 30 years, either 30 years or 30 cases, but I don't know. Just Mercy perfectly establishes the true equilibrium of law and justice while teaching us that there can also be bias and bigotry in the U.S. justice system. So apparently the police, as we all know, the police system, the law enforcement system is not the only system that is flawed. Not saying that this is corrupted, but they are biased and bigotry in a whole lot of ways. While most history biographies tell us the story of somebody we already knew in the African American history, like Selma told us the story of MLK, we're familiar with him. We got Marshall, the story of Thurgood Marshall with Chadwick. And we got 42, the story of Jackie Robinson, Get Out, Get On Up, the story of James Brown, and the list goes on. So this is one of the untold true stories about how Bryan Stevenson has been such an unstoppable force in the U.S. court system. Despite the fact that Bryan's mettle is constantly tested while he's encountering racism and prejudice in the South, because Walter McMillian told him that the mindset that some of these people are in is like, it's the racist mindset. Like, they don't care if you're wearing a shirt and tie or a jacket or if you talking that fancy vocabulary. As long as you're black, it just makes you feel like you're guilty from the day you're born. And that line really hit home. That specific line by Jamie Foxx's character really hit home. So the Walter McMillian case is the first case, like I said, he was able to win with the help of some witnesses and new pieces of evidence that increasingly came to light, proving his innocence and eventually bringing him home. Now, as far as comparison between this and nowadays is just the wrongful accusations of a black man committing a crime, because they didn't even ask. This is what's annoying. The police do not ask questions. They saw Walter McMillian driving on a truck on the side road, ambushed him and said, Sir, you are under arrest for committing a crime of a 18-year-old white girl. They didn't ask, they didn't give reasons. It's crazy. This is what we have to face. This is what a lot of people who look like me have to face too often. We just face the false conviction by police that we're being labeled as killers when sometimes we didn't do it. Most of the time, it's not us. It's just the racist perception they give towards us. Like I said, in the beginning, Walter, he was just cutting down trees. He's a lumberjack. He has a business of his own because that's his job. However, when he's driving in his truck, he gets ambushed by the officers who did accuse him, like I just said. So as a result, he gets locked up for a couple of years. I forgot how long it's been. But the point of this movie is to show how even when the U.S. court system can be biased in a flawed system, at the end of the day, we all need justice. We all need just mercy. Now, on to the characters. Like I said, the role of Bryan Stevenson was a different kind of role for Michael B. Jordan. It is his first, if you want to call this his important role, one in which it is meant to inspire others. Now, while he was very good in Fruitvale Station, which I've heard, but I haven't seen, that is something I am really considering on this playlist for Black Lives Matter. But his portrayal of Bryan Stevenson shows us that he is super dedicated to his role as a lawyer with anybody, towards anybody and every client he comes in contact with. But when he is introduced to his case on Walter McMillian, he will stop at nothing until Johnny D, as the community calls him, Johnny D, Walter McMillian, whatever is easy for you, is proven innocent in this trial. He even goes as far as asking each member of his community about what they think about Johnny D, what he was doing that day, and all their answers were pretty much the same. So if you take a whole community of witnesses saying that it was not him, it is pretty clear he is innocent. Now, the selective hearing. Now, one of the problems is the selective hearing, the words of a bunch of witnesses that are defending the defendant, and they simply deny everything and just go with what the other side says. That's an example of how the system can be biased, because, like, of course, the other side, the opposing side, was white. For those of you who watch shows like Judge Judy, you know how the court system works. There's the people versus the defendant. And in this case, it was the people versus Walter McMillian. And of course, the judge, who was also white, was expecting to hear better things from the people. Now, Jamie Foxx's supporting role as Walter McMillian is probably another one of his more important roles ever since Ray Charles. Now, Rotten Tomatoes gives it an 83% score. Just Mercy had a great performance. It wasn't the best biography I've ever seen, but Just Mercy had a great performance by Michael B. Jordan, whose characters showed a lot of persistence into bringing his client to justice, and the story provides a pretty straightforward message for all of us. The moral to the story is, it does not matter what race, what age, what gender, religion, whatever the case may be, because we could all use some kind of grace. At the end of the day, we need some kind of grace, some sort of justice, some shape of mercy, and some type of reconciliation. So for that, I will give it 8 SOs out of 10. So that is my review on Just Mercy. You can let me know what you guys think about it. How would you compare this? How would you say Just Mercy fits, or how much of it would you say is still going on today, besides some of the racism and the bias in the courtroom, or just out there with the police? You can let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time with my next video. Bye.